everyone. It's Deidre and Scott from Soulsgate Paranormal.
Hello.
We actually have been investigating the paranormal and doing paranormal research since 2009. We've been to quite a few locations and had quite a few experiences. And the most recent is actually out of Wildwood Sanitarium in Salamanca, New York.
So, like Deidre said, it was our first time at the location, so we didn't really know a lot about the history, a lot about anything. We just knew we were walking into a sanitarium. That's really what we knew. So we didn't look up a lot of history. We just wanted to go and do our thing and see what we get without knowing history. Sometimes it's better. So we went in. We had a lot of stuff to set up. We got most of it set up. Dee was doing the live camera. And I decided, well, while you're doing that, I'm just going to go walk around for a little while, do some, EVP hits. And so I went upstairs. I did a couple. I didn't get much, not anything really. But then I went down to the basement. Now, Spirit didn't interact with me by touching or saying anything. But when I listen back to the last EVP, we hear music.
Spirits are down here in the basement with me right this second. You spoke that.
So I don't know if you guys hear it or not. I hear music. I hear like a little kid's toy, almost like a Jack in the Box when you're winding it, and you know how you hear that like tingy music, that whatever.
I went around the basement looking for toys that, maybe something went off. Maybe it was Spirit. I don't know. I didn't see any toys. I went upstairs. I asked Dee if she heard it. She said no.
Done.
We looked around. I thought maybe wind chimes. So we went outside. We walked around the house. We did find one wind chime, but it did not sound anything.
And it's like this big.
And yeah, it was not big enough where you would have heard it in the basement, So it was, I don't know where it came from, but we tried to debunk it and we couldn't. There was nothing there that could debunk that music. Most of our interaction that night happened in that basement. There was one other instance where I jumped back. The man who said something was so loud and in my face. If you watch that video, I jumped back. I was in fighting stance.
Whoa! Oh, what? Did you hear that?
No, what?
Whoa! Oh, what? Did you hear that?
No, what?
Whoa! Oh, what? Did you hear that?
No, what?
I'll tell you what. This was by far, that investigation was the most. I'm not afraid, but eye-opening. I forgot what it was like to have Spirit that close to me because it hadn't happened in a long time. I get EVP hits, I get portal box sessions and stuff like that, and they're all great. It's all interaction, but this place, man.
So on Saturday, August 1st, 2020, we are hosting a Raise the Roof event, and that is to help raise funds for Wildwood Sanitarium in Salamanca, New York. And this event is going to be during the day. It's going to be psychics and vendors outside, rain or shine. And we're also doing tours of the inside, both historical and paranormal tours. This is hosted by the Wildwood Sanitarium Restoration Project. Dan Class, owner and operator and caretaker of the Hinsdale House, is also involved in this project. Lori and Brooke Wagatha, owners of Wildwood Sanitarium, are involved, as well as Scott and myself and Rick and Lee. So this is a very passionate team that pulled together to help Lori and Brooke and this location be restored to her, hopefully close to her original glory.
Hello, my name is Joe Pieri. I own a paranormal store just east of Buffalo called Paranormal Oddities. We specialize in paranormal gear, spiritual, voodoo, hoodoo, and everything else that you can imagine. I also run a paranormal team called Paranormal Crossroads. We've been broadcasting for over 10 years, and we enjoy it. Yeah, I'll give you a background. Again, it started for me in high school. I was a senior. We had to write a thesis to graduate from high school. We all the students had mentors. My mentor was my science professor. Well, when I had to write my thesis, he told me, I don't want anything straight and narrow. I want you to think outside the box. I want you to give me something special. So I did the research, and I was interested in paranormal, psychic abilities, ESP, stuff like that was unusual. So I wrote the thesis, turned it in. He gave me a great grade on it, but he told me that I couldn't go up on stage during graduations and talk about my thesis because he says people will judge you. He decided to take me on my first investigation. He says, since you're into this, I can show you some tricks. And that's where I discovered that my science teacher was a ghost hunter. He actually took me to a home investigation during the day. Back then, they didn't do it at nighttime. And I was hooked from day one. I was hooked. Historic Palmyra, there are 4 different types of buildings. There's a museum, there's an old felt store, there's a blanket store, a cloak store. The building that I was in that night was called the Phelps Family Store. The history of this location is that it's been throughout their family for generations. So when I say this store was family, it meant everything was in that building. The store was on the first floor to the, if you're looking at the building, to the left of it. And to the right of it was a grand staircase that led up to the residence. This was on a Sunday night that I chose to do a 3-night live paranormal marathon here on Paranormal Warehouse. I started off in Dunkirk to Bergen, and I ended up on a Sunday night in Palmyra. And I was looking for a quiet night, meaning there was no activity in the street. It was dead silent. Even the owners gave me the keys and says, when you're done, lock it up and throw the keys through the mail slot. Meaning, have fun tonight, but we're not going to be around. No one's around. We're going to bed, doing our thing, whatever it is. The town was basically shut down. I couldn't believe how dead the town was. So I was doing the investigation, me doing the Paranormal Crossroads version of it, first in, last out, meaning no one's in front of the camera. You're not going to see a body in front of the camera, meaning a live soul. It's just me behind the camera. You're first in the room. You're last out of the room. And I was in the Phelps store on the 2nd floor. Now, this building, I locked myself in. If someone were to come into the building, there's only one door through the front. The back one is boarded up. If you open the door, the alarm goes off saying, front door open, and you would hear a buzzer go off. So I knew there was no one in the building with me. And I'm inside the residence part in the dining room, and it's mid-investigation, right towards the middle of it. And I started to do my, not antagonizing, but I encouraged the spirit to talk to me. I asked it to tell its side of the story. I always say, give me the wow factor. And I decided to do the old Bill Murray from Ghostbusters. And that's one of my favorite movies, obviously. And he likes to hit the keyboard or the keys on a piano. So I went over the piano and I started tapping the keys.
No Mozart, that's for sure. No Beethoven.
And I said, geez, can you give me the wow factor? Can you scream, show yourself, slam a door? And no more than 5 minutes after that, I got something that I've never had before, an audio scream that was so clear, and it was feet away from me.
What the hell was that? What the hell was that? What the hell was that?
And if you're watching this video, you're going to see that my camera slowly tips down because I'm in shock. I'm in awe right now. I'm thinking either someone's in the building or this ghost, this entity, is actually listening to what I recommend it to do. And I stood there for a couple seconds, and I even said it, what the hell was that? I went into the hall. There's nobody. Front door is locked. And what you don't see on the video, and this is one of the things I'm very strong about. If I can't prove it to you that there is a paranormal anomaly happening, I won't say it. So I'm walking with the camera out into the hallway, shooting down the staircase. And behind me, there was a shadow figure that didn't go up the stairs the normal way to the third floor. It decided to go straight vertical. I sort of mentioned I possibly thought I saw something, but I think that was the entity that screamed to me. I did turn around. I proceeded up the stairs. There was nothing there, but I didn't make a big deal out of it because I couldn't prove it. This scream's audible was crystal clear. I've never had that happen to me. The owners of the location says that there is a caretaker that goes in there and will hear this woman talk, and sometimes she will scream. I was not expecting to hear it that night. Again, I was alone. There was nobody around me. I had one way in, one way out. Was I scared? Oh, sure, certainly. If anyone tells you they're not, they're full of baloney. But this thing was feet away from me. And I knew it was ready to talk. It was ready to communicate. It was a great night of paranormal research. I'm glad we caught it live, that people can enjoy it at home. I guess it started something big where it became more of a viral thing where people were talking. I was getting messages from people from all over the world asking to post this EVP again. We want to see it. We want to hear it again. Even the owners who were watching that night were in shock that they actually caught the scream. It's a great location. Again, the Phelps family store lives up to what it says it's going to do. It screams, it yells, it shows itself. Highly recommend it. Historic Palmyra.